check, check. Check, check, check.
Sibilance.
You guys all hear me? Yeah! Hello, you all. My name is Shaine Griggs. I'm with Teamsters Local 41. I'm a UPS driver and a shop steward. Thanks for having me. A couple of my coworkers are going to speak as well. As you guys probably know, I mean, we're in the midst of an enormous contract fight. Our current 5-year agreement expires on July 31st, and the general president of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, Shaine O'Brien, has said, if we don't have a deal, then we hit the picket line on August 1st at midnight. I just want to give a few remarks about UPS. Some of you might know, others might not, but we work for a ruthless company. So for example, Ben and I, Vince, one of my alternate stewards, we were just in a local hearing this last week, and one of our coworkers had a severe back injury. The company had seen fit to put him through the alternate work program rather than what would have been reasonable, putting him out on workers' compensation, but they don't want to do that, right? I mean, that looks bad on their reports, upper management gets upset about that, and the company had sent our coworker home because he was wearing footwear that was comfortable for him so that he could peel labels off of sort bags. Wasn't doing any heavy lifting or anything like that, he wasn't even able to do it. We took exception to that. We saw them targeting our coworker, and basically, when we're dealing with the company's representative in the hearings, he said, well, is there any restriction on here that says that this coworker of yours was not allowed to follow UPS safety methods? And we pointed out the absurdity of this because they allowed our coworker to show up wearing work boots, which apparently they thought was a really big deal, but he wasn't even able to put laces in them or tie them up because it caused him so much pain to move due to his back injury and nerve damage. But this is the kind of games that the company plays with us. I mean, they're harassing us constantly. They have a real chip on our shoulder, and we like to tell our coworkers that if you're a Teamster, you've already got a target on your back. They're coming after this union. So a little bit of the facts behind the situation. Over the last 4 years at UPS since 2019, the company's made $44 billion in operating profits. Last year alone, they set a record of $13.9 billion in profit. They kicked back $8.5 billion to the wealthy at Wall Street in the form of stock dividends and buybacks. And over the last 10 years, they've sent about $50 billion to Wall Street. Between 2012 and 2022, the compensation for us lowly workers has risen by about 28%, but the compensation for executives by 161%. Carol Tomei is our CEO. She took over a couple years ago during the pandemic. She, union busted quite a bit at Home Depot, where she was the CEO before. She'd sat on the board of UPS. She's come in and she's trying to clean house the same way at UPS. And meanwhile, she had a bad year last year and only took home $19 million. And we all know that sounds like a lot of money, right? The year before, she'd taken home $27 million. But even in her bad year, if you break it down, she worked a 40-hour work week at 52 weeks in the year, which, I mean, we're being really generous to think that the CEO did all of that, but that works out to a rate of $9,100 an hour. It's just unfathomable. We told one of our coworkers about this, right? And his response was, I'd be happy with $91 an hour. We said, hell yeah, yeah, we would. But there's a lot of issues that are on the table. I won't get into the weeds too much with all of them, but in particular, as a driver, once you reach 4 years, generally you are going to be decently well compensated. Top rate for the highest tier driver right now is $41.49 an hour. We get over $20 in health insurance and pension benefits on top of that, but the company, of course, wants to come for those as well. However, the majority of the Teamsters that work for UPS work inside the building. They handle packages, right? They're unloading trailers, they're loading trailers, they're loading what the company calls our delivery vans, package cars. And there's constant harassment that goes on inside the building. The supervisors are pushing you to work at an unsafe pace. They're pushing a volume of packages through these buildings that doesn't allow our coworkers to really meet the safety standards, and it's never fast enough. People are never doing the job well enough, and then if you get injured, why aren't you following the safety methods? On top of it, most of the part-time workers are only making a base of $15.50 an hour, and they might get a market rate adjustment that ups that by a few bucks that the company can take away whenever they please. The way that I see it, as someone that's just about to hit top scale as a driver, is these people are just as essential to the operation at UPS as all of the rest of us. And the company has insisted on these different pay scales in an effort to divide us, right? And unfortunately, some of my coworkers still buy that in driving. They think that, oh, it's a part-time job, you don't deserve anything, yeah, you get your 3.5 hour guarantee, screw you. But we feel differently, and our general president does as well, and he said that that's a strikeable issue if we don't get the part-timers an appropriate amount of pay and attack the kind of harassment that UPS management is putting towards all of us. So I guess as a final note to kind of wrap it up, we're really pleased, and a couple of my coworkers here are going to speak as well. Thanks for having us, guys. And I mean, honestly, I hope we do strike, because I feel like this is a really pivotal moment in the U.S. We need to rally against these corporations. They're really coming for us all. Everyone knows about the distribution of wealth in this country, but it's also just the petty tyranny of these managers on a daily basis is obscene. And if we do head to the picket line on August 1st, we would love any and all support that you all could provide us. That would be greatly appreciated.